I'm Regan Kerney, and I grew up in Princeton, New Jersey, and I went to Portsmouth Abbey School in Rhode Island in high school, and Princeton University, and that's me. Started playing hockey probably when I was 6 years old or so. This grew into a love of the game, and I was a defenseman for a long time, and then when I was a freshman in prep school, I decided I would try to be a goalie. It was a lot of fun, and I turned out to be at some level pretty good at it. And so I stayed with it, and I went on and played in college. I played on my freshman team, and we were almost undefeated. And then I spent the next 3 years on the varsity, and it was great experience. I loved it. I made most of my friends, or a lot of my friends, through hockey, even after college, playing a little bit of recreational hockey. I think one of the people who was a hero of mine when I was coming up was a guy who played for the New York Rangers named Ed Giacomin. He was a goalie for the Rangers, and he was unflappable. He just always had the same facial expression. A bomb could have gone off at his end of the rink, and he would have just had that Giacomin look. I wanted to be Eddie Giacomin when I grew up. One of two nights stands out for me playing. One was a loss, losing to Cornell, which was a great team then. And we lost to them by a fairly substantial amount. The other night that stands in my mind, we won, and that was beating Harvard. And Harvard had always been somewhat patronizing. They had a very good hockey team. But everything about them was a little bit patronizing. We went up there and lost at their rink, and then they came down and walked into our rink and just assumed they were going to win, and they didn't. We played a hell of a game, and we won. And I played a hell of a game too, and that was good for me. I had a coach for 2 years in college named John Wilson, and he was tough. And one night we were playing, I forget where we were playing, but we had a tough first period. The team fell down pretty badly that period, but I came up really big. And so it wasn't as bad as it could have been because of me. At least that was my impression. Anyway, we went into the locker room. He cut loose on us between periods. He got in that locker room and he used some language that I never heard him use before. And when he was done, he turned around to me and said, and by the way, I've seen some great goaltending before, but that's some of the best goaltending I've ever seen. Everybody else is just chastised, and when he said that to me, that's the first time he ever praised me for anything. I wasn't walking on the ground. I was 10 feet off the ground, and so for the next two periods, I said, "Hey, if he thinks I'm that good, I am, and I'm going to be that good." And I was really good that night. I stopped playing when I was about 45. One night I was driving to the rink for one of those late night 9 o'clock practices, and I pulled over at the side of the road and I said, "Geez, I really don't want to do this. I don't want it's the first time in my life I ever didn't want to go to a rink." So I turned around and I drove home and I put the equipment up in the attic, and I've never played since. I can tell you about the only fight I was ever in. I was we were playing Penn, and a fight broke out on the ice, and one of the Penn players got away from the fight and came over and speared me in the face. I don't know why. I was just watching things. Speared me in the face. And I lost my temper and threw my stuff down. And I tackled him and drove him down the rink and jumped on top of him. And I was about to punch him. And I looked down at his eyes, and his eyes were going around and around and around his head. He'd knocked himself when he fell over backwards on the ice. He knocked himself out. They took him off on a stretcher. My coach at the time, Bill Quackenbush, saw me, and he was not a big fan of fighting, and I didn't see a lot of ice after that. That was kind of a stupid thing for me to do, but I won.